Hey everyone, I hope you're able to get through this video, but you're gonna have to listen to this annoying guy's voice for the entire video. So yeah, good luck. If you're able to survive for the entire video, I'll give you $10 billion. Yeah, totally. It'll show up to your house the second you finish the video, man. Actually, no, let's make it 50 billion. Let's make it 50 billion. Yeah, I'm totally not just this scrawny kid that all he does is watch movies all day. That's definitely not me. I'm so rich, man. I'm like over Mark Zuckerberg when it comes to money, you know? Yeah, I'm richer than Disney. That's everything I'm saying in this video is true. But yeah, you guys, in all seriousness, I hope you really like this video, and if I don't say much about a movie, then that's mainly because I don't have much to say about it, not because I'm a lazy scriptwriter. But without further ado, let's get into this. Number 19 is Mars Attacks. This movie is absolutely boring as heck. And this is coming from a guy that has The Godfather Part 2 in his top 20 favorite movies. Normally, I don't get bored very easily by movies, even if I think they're really bad. But it's just trying to be funny as well as in just the schlocky B-movie. And it really falls flat on his face. Pretty much most of the comedy isn't funny. And they have a lot of really great cast members in this movie. It's just kind of a shame. Moving on, I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. Number 18, Charlie and the Chocolate. What? This movie is technically worse, but I would watch this over Mars Attacks any day because I wouldn't fall completely asleep. I love Johnny Depp as an actor, but what was his performance in this movie? I guess he's supposed to be like a kid or something, but it's just creepy. The fact that he looks hideous. Burton was just not the right guy to do a remake, or better yet, just not do a remake at all. Number 17, Alice in Wonderland. Wow, another terrible Burton movie. This film is not really much of a step up from the other two, but I'll keep it brief. The actor who plays Alice is incredibly dull. It feels like they dissected any possible emotion from her body, and this is what we got. Some of the visuals are nice, but that's pretty much it for positives. It captures none of the magic from Alice in Wonderland, and everything from that is just replaced with generic blockbuster cliches. I do appreciate the aspect that it's not like most remakes were just copies of everything, but yeah, this is an utter mess. Number 16, Planet of the Apes. This is technically the worst Burton film, but it's the most entertaining out of his bad remakes, mostly because one of the apes is so over the top, and the makeup, while sometimes not being the best, mostly great. Like I said before, I respect that Burton's remakes go in a completely different direction than the original adaptation, and that's part of what makes this film better than the rest, but it's still awful. The horrible acting, the stupid twist, all the stuff, all the reasons why people hate it, but you don't have to hear that coming out of my mouth. Just look at the billions of rants of it on YouTube and why it's so bad, so I don't have to spend 20 hours saying why this film is not very good. 15, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. A lot of non-Burton fans seem to really love this film, and I guess if you don't like his work, I guess I can kind of see why people would like this film, but it's not really my form of comedy. I can say that every film from now on I at least enjoy, and this film is decently enjoyable, and there are some good laughs sometimes, and it's a fun ride, but Pee-wee sometimes really just wants me to rip my eyeballs out of my skull. He is not really that funny, and is in a good amount of the film. I really found him kind of annoying, and I just wanted to scream. But it's not really bad, it's just not good either. 14, Dark Shadows. Johnny Depp is the only reason this movie is not bad. He's fantastic like you would expect. The cinematography is also very good, but everything else is either okay or bad. The villain and the kid acting is not very good, but there's not much to say. It's just an okay film. Number 13 is Dumbo. This is indeed a movie, I guess. I loved it when it first came out, but for some reason, I loved it then, but it's like, the better I become a critic, now I just think it's kind of okay. This is by far the most forgettable film in his entire filmography. It's not boring, and it's not bad, really. It's just a okay enough movie. There's not much to say. Number 12 is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I will say the score is the best part of this film. It's fantastic and builds the world very well. Also, it's nice to see Samuel Jackson in here, and then he gives a solid performance. Some of the kid acting is not that great, but for the most part, it's pretty solid. I felt myself decently connected to our main lead, and I liked him. The world building is decent. The story might feel like it meanders, but personally, I was never really bored, and always felt like it's moving forward. Even though I like Samuel L. Jackson's performance, his character was not very good. But it's decent enough and was better than I expected it to be. Number 11 is Frankenweenie. This film is probably the one I have the least to say about. It has some nice animation, and it's nice to see a younger version of Dr. Frankenstein. That's honestly it. Number 10, A Corpse Bride. This is normally debated whether it's good or not, and I really enjoyed it. The animation, first off, is great. The separation of being black and white overground and underground and being more colorful is a nice touch. I like the songs, and I like how it subverted my expectations in the end. But it is way too short. I felt like that it was just... it just needed to be longer, in my opinion, for them to develop the story, because everything feels a tad bit rushed, and I found the villain twist quite predictable, but it's still a good film. Number 9. I guess this is kind of controversial or whatever, but it's Beetlejuice. It's a really good movie, okay? Michael Keaton is fantastic, of course, and I always wanted more of him, but that's also kind of an issue. He's not in the film as much as you think, and I really just wanted more of him. He completely overshadows our main leads, and that's an issue for me. I really just wanted more of him, meaning I did not care much about our main leads, not saying that they are bad, but Beetlejuice was way better. I think that they should have had the main characters a good amount more interesting. I just think Beetlejuice really does overshadow the film, but it's still really good. Michael Keaton is great, and I was really intrigued by the trippy world. Number 8, Batman Returns. This takes the Batman and Burton combination to the max, and for that I really like it. It's a lot edgier and darker, and for that I really think it is a very good movie. My main flaw is that the ending is just... feels too sour, and sometimes they go a bit far with the dark stuff so much it does not feel like a Batman movie, but I really like it. Number 7, Batman. Yeah, I know. Literally every non-Burton fan just subscribed because everyone thinks this is the only good Burton movie. Listen, I really like this film. I think Jack Nicholson as the Joker is great and pretty close to his performance as Jack Torrance. It's absolutely beautiful, and the score by Andy Elfman, come on, how can you not love that? Michael Keaton is great as well as Batman, and this movie was the first to bring Gotham to life, and it probably did it the best. But the Prince music, honestly, is insanely odd, and really just the Joker talking about art really does not land. I know this movie is kind of in Returns, and like this flaw that I'm about to mention is kind of in Returns, but I decided to say it here. But it's the fact that Batman just kills people with no reason or motive. I'm not saying that Batman shouldn't kill entirely, but he really should at least kill with some sort of motive. But he doesn't have one in this movie. But besides that, I really liked this film. Number 6, Edward Scissorhands. I guess this is kind of a hot take to not put this in the top 5, but listen, this movie is great. Johnny Depp gives a perfect performance as Edward Scissorhands, and I don't see anyone else playing him nearly as well. I also think it has a great score by Danny Elfman, and the visuals are great, but my flaw is that everyone is so accepting of him at first, and then they instantly turn on him. It felt a bit too unbelievable for me, but a great film nonetheless. Number 5, Sleepy Hollow. If you have seen my 90s Tim Burton ranking, which is no longer on YouTube because it's so bad, I thought it was solid and did not like it that much. But if you watched my channel during October and you subscribed then, you would know I have gotten into Hammer Horror recently, and now I can see how it's a love letter and kind of a spoof in a way on it, and it's extremely entertaining. The visuals are outstanding, and Johnny Depp is a ton of fun. My main flaw is that the twist was pretty predictable, but I really had a great time with this movie. Number 4, Big Fish. This film feels the most powerful out of Burton's movies. The relationship of a father and son is nothing new, but the way they convey it is amazing. The father and son are great, and their relationship feels so real. The fact the son only knows the stories about his father and not really him is just so incredibly well done. The themes about reality is just fantastic. It's kind of hard to do the top 4 because they are some of my all-time faves. Number 3, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber on Fleet Street. This movie feels the most Burton-like. The city feels like something only he could create, and it looks fantastic. These songs are odd, and they work so incredibly well and fit the atmosphere. The performances by everyone are great and fit the movie. This is the most unpredictable of his filmography for sure. I mean, the ending really just shocked me completely. All film is subjective, but this is the most subjective film he has ever made. You either love it or hate it. Number 2, Big Eyes. This movie barely feels like a Burton film, and I say that in a good way. Amy Adams' character is absolutely fantastic, and you root for her the entire film, and you really want her to get credit for her work. The ending is so satisfying, it makes you want to get up and applaud. This movie is probably the Burton's best usage of color, and it's kind of interesting seeing that how he normally goes in a more gothic route, but with this movie, it's a lot more colorful, and it's kind of interesting to see that. Christoph Waltz is mostly really good, but then once you get to the end, he gets a bit over the top, which feels pretty odd, but it's barely an issue for me. This movie is one of the best of the decade, and it deserves more appreciation. Number 1, Ed Wood. Please watch this movie. This movie is so insanely overlooked by the general public because it was released in a year packed with amazing films. It even bombed at the box office. But this movie has no right to be as great as it is. I think Johnny Depp gives one of the best performances in film as Ed Wood because he plays a character that is so horrible at making films, but he's so insanely likable at the same time, making him a really great character. The camera work is, of course, fantastic, and it's also very funny, especially with some of the humor with Bill Murray. The themes about creating what you want to create is amazing. Please, if you have not checked out this movie, I highly recommend you should check it out. It deserves a lot more appreciation. So everybody, that is the video. If you like this video, which I've been playing for a long time, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if you want to see more stuff like this, I have a lot of director rankings. I'll probably put an iCard above, maybe a playlist in the description, or you can just click on my channel and go to the playlist section, and you can find I've done Charlie Chaplin, I've done Wes Anderson, I've done a good amount of these. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.